Hey, I'm live. And I don't think I was live for 30 seconds before I realized I was live, like yesterday. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Episode 830, Hobby Evolution. We're going to talk March Madness brackets. We're going to talk about spring. We're going to talk about humanizing professional athletes. It's on the docket today. Don't forget, tomorrow is a free-for-all Friday. That means my camera's a little too high. No, it's a little too low. There we go. How's that? I feel like I haven't had my V8. It's because oh shoot. Uh-oh. How's that? That's going to have to work. Tomorrow's a free-for-all Friday, so that means we will play Name That Player. So I think, let's see. I think we'll run it through, what did I say? We were going to play till 50. I think we're just going to run it through March. Uncle Rich is going to win. We all know that. He has how many points? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 43 points. So hell, he might win anyway. So I guess we'll play to 50 or through the month of March. Second place, Scotty Dubs, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 36. Is that correct? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 36. Oh, Scotty Dubs. Okay, we'll play through March. It's closer than I thought. So that's what we'll do tomorrow morning. This camera angle is really bugging me, but I'm I'm using a storage box, a BC or not a BCW, but one of the storage boxes, 300 count, 400 count, and it's not stable, and it's like just has enough room to kind of put the tripod on, but I don't want to touch it too much because then it'll just go. The actual camera thing is loose, so bear with me. Cobbling things together this morning. What else is going on? Let's go to the chat. We've got Terry, good morning. Jenny, what's happening? Brian Dean, what's going on? Terry wants to know if we're ready for more snow. Ugh. That must be in Minnesota. No snow in the forecast, although actually we might have snow in the forecast tomorrow. What say you, weather forecast? High of 44 today. Looks like we're going to have rain. It's going to be windy Friday and Saturday. No snow in the forecast. In the 50s next week. That'll feel like summer, although I'm still on that Arizona 80-degree and sunny high. Jenny says, are you going to the Bloomington show this Saturday? To Terry. Let's see. Jenny's also over the snow. We've got George. What's happening? Terry's going to be at home, not at the Bloomington Card Show. By the way, speaking of card shows, this Saturday, Madison Card Show, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. Take a drink. 9 to 3, free admission, 125 tables. I do have a few tables remaining. Those are my tables, but I do have a few tables remaining. So if I book them, but I also, this is like, it's Thursday, and I always get, oh, hey, by the way, I can't make it. Forgot. I was going to message you, but I forgot. I always get those. I was going to message you, but I forgot. That's usually when I follow up. Hey, just want to make sure you're good. Oh, I was going to message you. It's a good thing. That's why I follow up. I always expect some late cancels the last couple days. So I am planning on setting up this Saturday, and I do have supplies. So I'll have top loaders, I'll have penny sleeves, and I'll have my quarter boxes. In fact, last night I was watching. There was some good TV on last night. I was listing some cards because I didn't list much yesterday. And then I'm like, I got tired of listing, so I grabbed a box from my Bowman buy from a couple weeks ago in Janesville. And my quarter box is going to be loaded up. So this Saturday, Madison Card Show, I'll have some first Bowmans, some chrome, refractors, colors. So my baseball boxes will be loaded up. Baseball, man, is hot at card shows from what I've been seeing over the last few weeks. Baseball, you can really tell people are getting excited. This is like the hot spot. This is the hot time for baseball. Spring training is well underway. People are out grabbing those prospects. A lot of Bowman has been moving. I'm seeing more Bowman now than what I saw last year at this time, because I remember going to card shows looking for Bowman and not finding any. And now it's like, oh, there's Bowman everywhere, and I like it. So I picked up some Bowman Chrome autos down at the Phoenix card show in Chandler. So I think I showed those off the other day. So Bowman, and it's moving. I'm moving it. In fact, this card right here, I listed this, and I don't know if this came out of my Bowman buy or not. Jackson Merrill first chrome refractor sold for like $12.50. So that was a nice little sale. David, what's up? Good morning to you. George, what's happening? Where we at? Boston Smoke, what's up? Victor says, happy NCAA tournament day. Let's break down the brackets today as well. And that means me just looking at the brackets and spewing a bunch of nonsense because I didn't follow much college basketball this year, and I didn't really watch I didn't watch at all Selection Sunday. I didn't watch any of I had it on for a little bit last night before the first 4 games came on. I turned that on for a little bit. The 16 seats, like, isn't that like the worst? The first 4 play-in game between 2 conference tournament champions, which is ridiculous. It should be automatic qualifiers should automatically qualify for the field of 64. It's bullshit that a couple of 16 seeds that won their conference tournaments have to play in to the field of 64, like Fairleigh Dickinson and whoever the hell they played last night. Corpus Christi or Commerce or whoever the hell it was. That's a bunch of BS. And who wants to watch 2 16 seeds on primetime TV the week of the NCAA tournament? Now, the night game, which I had turned off and went upstairs, was like Nevada and Arizona State, which, hey, those are like, we know who those teams are. Do you know where Fairleigh Dickinson is located? I know it's out east somewhere, but I would guess Pennsylvania or New Jersey. I don't know. And I worked in college athletics. So the average person has no frickin' clue. Nobody wants to watch 2 16s. And it was a blowout game. And it was like, at one point it was like 25 points. And I'm like, not that, I mean, other games could have been blowouts as well, but when it's Fairleigh Dickinson and whoever the hell they played, who did they play? I'm sure it's in the chat. Let's go to the score app. Where are we at? Where's my score app? There we go. My apps got all rearranged recently for some reason. Tournament, NCAA men's basketball. And it's so hard to find these scores. Oh, leagues. I just want NCAA. Damn you. Somebody's like screaming. Can somebody just say it in the chat? Let's see. Central PA. Okay. Whoever they played. I'll just get to John's comment here. What's up, John? Fairleigh Dickinson didn't win. That's right. However, they were the automatic qualifier for their conference tournament, because if it weren't for whatever team is in transition, they allowed into the conference tournament. I can't remember which team that was. They're transitioning to Division I, but their 4-year wait is not up yet. So Fairleigh Dickinson just automatically qualified despite not winning the conference tournament. So that's like, there's an asterisk. They were an automatic qualifier. So yes, they didn't actually win the conference tournament, but they were kind of like in the NCAA tournament brackets, the Hobby Evolution Bracket Challenge, which, by the way, the link is in the description. You have a couple hours to enter. The prize is a hobby box of 2023 Top Series 1. And you could be Fairleigh Dickinson, because if I win, I have a bracket, I'm ineligible, like the team that Fairleigh Dickinson got in over their conference. I don't know what team they beat. I don't know what team they beat last night. I don't even know what conference they're in. Is it the NEC? Are they in the Northeastern Conference? So if I win the bracket challenge, which, by the way, I suck at brackets, you could be the Fairleigh Dickinson and automatically win the hobby box by taking second place. So let's go back into the chat. Nobody knows who Fairleigh Dickinson played last night. Where are we at in the we got Boston Smoke in the house. We've got tournament day. We've got Sal Dougie. What's up? Abraham, hope to see you on Saturday. Johnny Boy Cards is here. We've got Johnny Moe in Idaho. I love that name. Good morning. Kyle, what's happening? Hall of Fame card collector is here. Nate's Cards and more. Good morning to you. Poor Mets, the injury bug never leaves. Yeah, Edwin Diaz last night, World Baseball Classic, Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. Puerto Rico wins. Edwin Diaz celebrates and gets hurt. Hopefully it's not serious. Although I don't know what's the latest on what that could be. Not good. That sucks. I was rooting for Puerto Rico. Kyle says, been selling 2021 Bowman like mad lately on eBay. I think spring training definitely has boosted sales. Absolutely. Preseason will always ramp up. People get excited. I'm starting to see more football. And kind of over the last couple of years that I've sold more and more volume on eBay, I'm noticing a spike around this time for football. Free agency began this week, Monday. And we're heading into the NFL draft. I'm starting to see some Bowman U football move because there's a lot of prospects in the NFL draft. And then I think we'll hit another NFL dead zone. NFL card season is a little different because there's like stages. There's a bump like now with free agency and the impending NFL draft. We'll see a little rise. And then we'll just see, like, as soon as the NFL draft is over, it's like dead zone. And then all of a sudden, as we get into like June, then all of a sudden it spikes again as we head into training camp. And then by like the time the season starts, it falls flat. That's what I've seen the last couple of years personally. I don't know if there's any, that's just my own experience selling football. I don't know if others have noticed the same. And that's on volume. That's on volume sales. Brian Wolf is here. What's up? Low Roller Scratcher said I sold a soccer card. I didn't even realize that. I haven't shipped it yet. So I guess I'll realize it when I ship it. Johnny Moe in Idaho says, I didn't watch any NCAA games this year. This may be my best bracket ever. That's kind of my line of thinking. Because when I don't watch basketball, I just kind of go, because here's why. Johnny Moe in Idaho, that brings up an observation on my brackets. When I watch intently and follow along and blah, 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 and I read into everything and I know the teams, I get cute. I get cute with upsets. And guess what? A lot of times it's pure chalk. And I'm not saying like all number ones in the Final Four and all top 4 seeds in the Sweet 16, because but once you get into the Sweet 16, take a look and see how many like upsets there actually were. Usually the cream rises to the top. Where's the bracket challenge? So looks like we have, as we speak, Hobby Evolution Bracket Challenge. We're up to 81 brackets. That's a lot better than 27 last year. So we've got 81 brackets, and I think we've got some that are incomplete yet. So Abraham, your bracket's incomplete. Frank, Dale, Jacob, Kyle K, your bracket's incomplete. Flipping Sports Guy, your bracket is incomplete. Sean is incomplete. Terry, I think I saw you did enter a bracket that's complete. Let me see. Let me just make sure. Terry, you did get a bracket in. Tyler, Skeeters, your bracket also incomplete. So you still have time to enter those brackets. Again, a hobby box of 2023 Top Series 1 is the prize. I have a bracket. I am ineligible to win the prize. So whoever gets if I win, whoever gets second place wins the hobby box. Let's go in. Let's just take a look at the bracket. My bracket. Let's start in the South region. Ooh, I sound like I don't sound like I'm trying to pretend. Oh, what do I? Oh, okay. I actually changed my bracket last night. This time yesterday morning, I had Alabama winning. I changed my bracket. I have Gonzaga winning now. So I have Alabama, though, advancing out of the South region. The only upsets I do have number 9 West Virginia for my guy Ken. Also because they're playing number 8 Maryland, and the Big Ten typically sucks in the NCAA tournament. So I did not favor the Big Ten well this year. I do have an upset. 13 seed Furman. I have Furman over Virginia in the first round. I do have a number 6 seed advancing to the Elite 8. That's Creighton. The Blue Jays I have beating North Carolina State. Then I have them beating number 3 Baylor. And then I have number 6 Creighton beating number 2 Arizona. So that's my South region. Then I have Alabama beating Creighton. Let's go to the East bracket. My East region winner is the Duke Blue Devils, which has that. And they have a tough matchup. Number 12, Oral Roberts. We hate Oral Roberts. Boo. They're the Summit League champions, a number 12 seed. That 5-12 matchup, it's a tricky one. But I think Duke, it's the first season without Coach K. I think Duke that's going to be the storyline. It's the first tournament without Coach K. What are the Blue Devils going to do? I think Duke wins, and they go into the Final Four. I have them knocking off Purdue, and then number 2, Marquette down there. I do have an upset. I have Kentucky losing in the first round. They're a number 6 seed. I have Providence beating them. I have Kansas State beating Providence, and then Marquette beating Kansas State. Duke over Marquette to get to the Final Four. Midwest region. My region winner is a number 1 seed, Houston Cougars. Let's see. I've got number 9 Auburn over number 8 Iowa. I've got an upset, the 12-5 upset. I've got Drake over Miami. And then I've got Houston beating Drake. Let's see. I've got I also have Drake beating Indiana. So I have again another upset by a Big Ten team. So I have Drake in the Sweet 16 and then losing to number 1 Houston. I've got Pitt number 11 over number 6 Iowa State. I've got Xavier moving on over Pitt. Texas beating Colgate, and then I do have a small upset. Penn State, one of the few Big Ten teams I have advancing. I have number 10 Penn State over number 7 Texas A&M. Then I've got, Texas beating Xavier, Houston over Texas to get to the Final Four. And then my final bracket region, Gonzaga winning the West. I've got number 1 seed Kansas moving on to the Elite 8 and then losing to Gonzaga. I've got number 8 Arkansas over Illinois because I don't like the Big Ten in the NCAA tournament. I've got the 4 and 5s winning. I've got the 6 seed winning, the 3 seed, 7 and 2. So it looks like I've got all chalk in the first round in the West. And again, I've got Gonzaga over Kansas. My final 4, Alabama, Duke, Houston, Gonzaga. I've got Bama and Gonzaga. Bama-Zaga. Bama-Zaga. That would be a cool band name. Bama-Zaga. I've got Gonzaga over Alabama in the tournament championship. Gonzaga winning the NCAA tournament. So, if you want to lose, follow my lead. That's my bracket breakdown. Let's see. John says it's about revenue. That's what sports has always been about. That is true. We've got Red Light 34. That's what I'm always going to know you as. Just on 3 more card. It's Red Light 34 is easier to say. Let's see. Raphael's in the house. What's up? I guess I can call you Mike. I'll call you Mike. That's easier. Harlan in the house. What's up, Harlan? Where we at? Let's see. Raphael. We've got, let's see. Mike's getting those couches out. Talking about this. Sweet. Where's that Jackson Merrill? Put Jackson Merrill. Look at that couch card holder. Couch people card holder. We love it. Courtesy of Just on 3 More Card, a.k.a. Mike. Flipping Sports Guy says, last night was part of what I hate about sports here in Philly. Fans mocking and trolling the Mets over Diaz. despicable. Let's talk about that. That's the topic of the day. Humanizing professional athletes. I think we all know this. Professional athletes are actually people. But many people, mostly degenerates, a lot of in the gambling world, they lose some money on a bet, and they get pissed off and they go to social media, they troll these players. I learned a lot about the stresses for professional athletes this week. And I think it was because I hung out with Ethan Roberts, major league pitcher. I hung out with some of the minor leaguers at the hotel lobby, and just kind of like soaking it all, sponging it all in, soaking it all up, actually talking about the inner workings of especially baseball. Baseball is such a weird dynamic. It's not like football or basketball at all. There's a lot of, I'm not going to say politics in baseball, but there's a lot of roster strategy. And I did hear some interesting takes regarding, from actual players, some of the changes in the game of baseball, the rule changes. One thing I found fascinating that I never even thought about until hearing it out, ghost man on second, which actually is liked by the players, mostly. I'm sure there are some that hate the rule. And initially I'm like, oh, that's a dumb rule. That's stupid. But then after hearing it out, the reasons why it's good for the game is because it screws with players. How does it screw with players? Say a game goes 18 innings. First off, have you sat at a stadium through an 18-inning game? I'm sure a few of you have. I haven't, because I'm freaking impatient and I go to socialize. That's my hot take. I go to baseball games not to watch baseball, but to socialize. And like relief pitchers in a bullpen sitting for 18 innings in a game. You're like, well, yeah, they're paid millions of dollars. But that's kind of secondary. That whole sitting through 18 innings, that's secondary because it is fairly rare. But here's where it does screw with players. Say all of a sudden they deplete the bullpen. Now, that fringe relief guy who just got his chance to throw in a big league game, through with all the other relievers. Now, guess what? The team doesn't have any relief pitchers to use for the next game. And guess what? That guy that's on the fringe that just pitched in a big league game, maybe his debut, maybe he's been up for a week, got his cup of coffee, he's sent back down to AAA because they need to bring up another reliever or two more relievers because their bullpen was depleted in a freaking 19-inning game. So it screws with players' service time. So that opened my eyes. And that's what makes baseball so tricky. Service time manipulation. We all know that from Chris Bryant and numerous others. I think Jason Hayward was also predated Chris Bryant on service time manipulation, but it wasn't really a thing that garnered headlines until Bryant in 2014. So that was something I found fascinating. But talking with these guys and kind of along the same lines, it's like, and it's not just if a bullpen is depleted, but it's like if you're a lefty, the team might be filled with lefties. They need righties. You could be blocked by player X. Now you're trade bait. You get sent off, and maybe you get a better opportunity, or maybe it's a worse opportunity. There's so much. Can you imagine? And that all just it all dawned on me. And it's kind of like Dave Ramsey's Daily Money Makeover. Or that was the show we ran on the radio station. But Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover. The things he says are so common sense. And you think, well, no shit. What? But he says it and people listen. So he's a genius. That's kind of how I felt like listening to all of these different takes regarding the, just the workings of a roster, service time, manipulation of service time. And it's like, I knew all of those things occurred, but I never thought of it through the lens of an actual player. And I don't think any of us really do, unless you've played the game at the professional level. We don't really think like that. We think of it as a hobby, a sport we watch for fun, our favorite teams and players, our least favorite teams and players. And we don't think about like those players in terms of actual human beings, because most of them we've never met. They're just dollar bills for owners, and they're just entertainment for us. We don't humanize the players. And these degenerate gamblers, I'm just going to throw those out. They get on social media. You missed the game-winning field goal. You missed the free throw. You struck out to end the game. You gave up the game-winning home run. All that BS. Some of these guys, and so the hotel I stayed at was a lot of guys from Puerto Rico, Venezuela, Dominican Republic. And if you've ever seen, read the book by Mariano Rivera's book is it really kind of gives you a glance into what conditions are like where he grew up. A lot of these guys staying at the Marriott could be the best living arrangements they've ever had. And for some of these guys, unfortunately, it may be the best living arrangements they ever have, because they may not make it past single A. And that really opened my eyes. It's like, man, this could be like the highlight of their life, coming out to spring training for a chance at, playing professional baseball, whatever level. They might get cut. They're literally playing with their lives on the line. Another thing that I thought of as I'm kind of going on this rant, I think last week Zach mentioned about asking Sterling Sharp, Green Bay Packers wide receiver back in the day, in the 90s, for his autograph. And Sterling Sharp replied something to the effect of, does your dad sign autographs at his job? I don't know Zach's dad, or I didn't know Zach's dad. But I bet he would have been happy to sign autographs at his job. I would have been, or would be. Most guys would be. And it's like, we're not. And here's another thing. You get on a guy, and especially the trolls that get on social media, they talk crap. Can you imagine, say you're working at Dunkin' Donuts. You're making $15 an hour. And you give somebody back you shortchange somebody in the drive-thru, and they get pissed off. And it was an honest mistake. Maybe you were in a rush, or maybe the bills stuck together or fell or whatever. Honest mistake. You shortchanged the guy. And all of a sudden, you've got thousands of people on social media coming at you because you made a mistake at your job. Have you ever made a mistake at your job? I bet you have. Have you had thousands and thousands of people threaten you and troll you on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter because you made a mistake at your job? These guys don't want to make mistakes. Edwin Diaz didn't go out and celebrate expecting to get hurt and possibly miss games or a season, whatever the injury might be. That wasn't his intention. And I guarantee you, if you're a Mets fan and you're upset, Edwin Diaz, you dumbass, for celebrating and injuring yourself, I guarantee you he's 1,000 times more pissed off than you. Guy that strikes out. He didn't want to strike out. You can say, well, he gets paid millions. Well, you get paid thousands at your job and you make mistakes. Does your boss yell at you? Well, he might if you have a bad boss. I'm paying you X amount. You can't screw up this paperwork. So it really, when I sat with some of these guys and when I had conversations, it dawned on me, and all of this stuff I knew, like these guys we know they're all humans. We know they're all people, but we really don't think about it because they're just players on TV for us or names in the box scores. Do they still make box scores? So that's my rant. Let's go back into the chat. I just want to talk about, and I shared that, and I'll just end it with this. I shared that thought just randomly in a group chat that I'm in. And somebody mentioned, oh, you should talk about that. That's a good topic. And I thought, you know what? That is a good idea. Because I did, as I thought about it, I had more, like, just over the course of the week that I was there, just conversations I had, not just with players, but with people involved with professional teams, people involved that work with players, just in a lot of the conversations. And that's another thing about spring training is it's not just about going out, drinking beer and watching baseball. It's about networking, communicating with other people, like-minded people, and conversations were amazing. And one of my friends who I spent a lot of time with in the berm, and she actually works at Wrigley. She's a retired teacher, works at Wrigley Field, and she was my DD one night when we went out as a group to a restaurant, and we're driving back, and she's like, I just really enjoy, because I'm like, are you going to be in the berm for Sunday's game? Or yeah, Sunday's game. And she's like, oh yeah, yep. And I'll have 2 towels, so you're all welcome. I'm like, okay, because I enjoy the berm. And I enjoy the berm because I have these types of conversations, but then I can also like walk around. I can get up and I can move around. I'm not confined into a chair. But again, I go to a baseball game to socialize and have these conversations. If I want to, plus it's spring training. It's not like I'm keeping score on a spring training game. Hey, I applaud people that do. That's just not my thing. So it's good conversation. And she mentioned the same thing. She's like, I learned so much just sitting and talking with people in the lawn. And you learn things, and some things you knew, but it may have light bulb went off. Well, yeah, I noticed that, but I never thought about it like that. Mike, thank you very much. Hit that like button if you like today's conversation. More to come. What else did we want to talk about today? March Madness. I want to talk about spring. Was that what I wanted? I don't think I mentioned that, but what else was there? March Madness. We went over the bracket. We talked about humanizing players. Merrimack, thank you, David. Merrimack College in Massachusetts. They won the regular season and the conference championship, which is rare that a team still transitioning that's ineligible for the NCAA tournament would play in the conference tournament. So when I was in the Summit League, when I worked for Western Illinois University in the Summit League, I think Omaha, the Mavericks, they were transitioning to Division I when I was there. And so I don't know if it's up to the school, the university. It might be a conference decision. Like, you can, but here you're not going to win, or you're not going to, it's not, you can hang the plaque in your arena. Yeah, I don't know if that's a school decision or a conference, but Merrimack College. Thank you, David. Let's see. Nate's Cards and More says Diaz injury was sad. Pete Maravich NCAA points record is safe now. Someone is about to beat his record this year. James, what's happening? My guy, James. James, I was just talking. I don't know if you missed it. Bowman has been selling really well. And from my bulk Bowman buy, I'll be throwing those into the quarter boxes. So if you make it to Madison this Saturday, you will have first crack at those Bowman. Paul, good morning. What's up? Brian says, question, can you send me a copy of one of the player photos that you took with the zoom lens? Absolutely. I want to see if I can remove the chromatic aberration, the purple glow around the player. Oh, that's a good point. I did notice there's it's not perfect. But I did notice using my zoom lens, which was that was a great for $60. And I actually had, I think it was a Scout. I was on the backfields. It drew up a lot of conversation. People were like, "What is that thing?" I'm like, "Well, it's a zoom lens. It's 36." And so I'd show, and a couple scouts asked me about it. One scout, I think, bought one because I showed him the Amazon link, and I think he bought one. Yeah, there is kind of now that you mention it, Brian, there is just this weird, like the outline of the player. It just looks off. I don't see purple. I'm not zoomed in. I don't see a color to it, but yeah, maybe there is a little bit. It's almost like a blur. See, on the white, it's almost like a green. It's like it's kind of it's not pixelated, but it's just, yeah, there's like a blur to it. I will, do you want me to email that to you or Twitter DM? That was ugly for Edwin. Yes, it was. We've got Herman in the house. John says card seasons are evolving. That is very true. Basketball was white hot for several years. Football becoming strictly about quarterbacks. Only consistent is baseball and hockey, which is consistently flat. That is, I will agree with most of that. Basketball was white hot like until the pandemic. Basketball was like one sport where it kind of drifted during the pandemic. Like it got white hot. Like it was like already up here. Like baseball, football was here. Basketball was up here. The pandemic hit and it like went like this. And then basketball, like during the pandemic, like just slowly evaporated. From what I sold personally, it was just like, what in the hell is going on with basketball? It was the first to fall. It was the first to rise. It was the first to fall. Football has been strictly quarterbacks for a long time. I think football's actually evolving to the opposite, like where other positions are starting to slowly creep back. For a long time, football was strictly quarterbacks, and now we're starting to see a little bit of other positions taking over. Football's always going to be strictly quarterbacks. I mean, it's always going to outsell other positions, but I think there is room to grow on the other positions. Baseball and hockey, I can't speak for hockey. Baseball is consistently flat, which is good. And you see, like, I think with football and basketball is just, I just can't, I have no idea what the basketball market is. And I sell basketball and I just can't pinpoint what's going on with that market. Football, you have those ebbs and flows, but they're like this. And baseball is like this. And then there's a dip and then there's a peak. And then it's not flat, but it's consistent. And I think over a 12-month period, it all averages out, and your peak and your valley are just, it's like this. Whereas football, it's like that. Poor representation, I know. John sold to Pete Maravich this morning. Flipping Sports Guy just signed up, doing it now. Sweet. Augusta Lawn Care, what's happening? Good morning. Speaking of Flipping Sports Guy and Kyle, brackets, CBS Sports Line. The link is in the description to this video. We have how many brackets are we up to? 82? Is that right? 82 brackets? Oh, that's last year. We had 25 last year. 25 brackets last year. We're up to 82 this year. We're playing for a hobby box of Series 1 Tops 2023 Series 1. Hobby box. Winner of the bracket challenge wins the hobby box. 1 entry per person. I am in the bracket challenge, but I have ruled myself ineligible for any prizes. Speaking of Top Series 1, did you see the super retail boxes? I think they were online at Fanatics. Let's take a look. We've got there. Let's just, since you're in the chat, here's the bracket challenge link. I'll drop in the chat if you're here. Bracket challenge link. Now it's in the chat because I had that up. Oh, and it just made it under the 200 character limit. What was I looking? Oh shit, I forgot what I was looking up. What was I? Oh, Super Retail Box on Fanatics. That's how my. By the way, I did not get my trash out to the curb in time yesterday morning, which is okay. It was only trash day. Super Retail Box. I think that's what it's called. I think this is a good deal. I don't have any Fanatics gift cards, through Costco, but I kind of considered buying some just to get these super retail boxes. There's a value box. Let's now I can't find it. Top sellers. Let's go to newest items. There she is. 2023 Top Series 1 Baseball Factory Sealed Retail Super Box. It's not going to ship on or before April 5th. So they're trying to extend. See what they're doing? They're bringing out these new products and they're extending that shelf life. It's like by April 5th, nobody wants Top Series 1 anymore. But hey, if we dangle this carrot your way, and here I am, I know how they work. I know this is like mainly at this point garbage in terms of like return on your value. It would be a fun rip. This would be all about the fun for me. So the Super Box, which by the way, this is not an affiliate link or anything. Here's the link. Should be an affiliate link, but that's on me for being lazy. A Super Box. It's one oversized base card, and there's 25 on the checklist. I think there's 10 packs. Show me what I get. Show me what I get. Details. So there's 10 packs per box, 16 cards per pack. So you're getting 160 cards. You get an exclusive enamel pin, the oversized card, a matching companion card, and an exclusive silver pack with 5 silver patterned foil board base card parallels. So that's a haul, and it's $35. I mean, it's less than 2 blaster, or actually it's about the price of 2 blaster boxes. $35. You're getting 160 base cards. What's the math on that? Now, again, we know they're Top Series 1, so the value isn't quite there. 35 divided by 160. That is that really 22 cents a card? Okay, so that's a bit much, but 22 cents a card. It's and here's where they get you. I bet it's all base cards. I bet there's like no autographs. There's probably no parallels. It's just a gimmick to get rid of all these extra base cards. I'd be curious to see the odds. Although, actually, as I'm looking at the box on the Super Box pack, it does say look for autograph and relic cards. Now, I'm sure the odds are crazy, but it does say on the box. So we'll see if that's actually the case. So I think it's a good deal. For $35, I'd take a chance, and just for fun, if you have kids, that'd be a great rip. For those that say there's nothing in a price point for kid, like look at the fun you could have as a kid. $35. You get 160 cards. You get 5 foil board cards. You get an oversized card with a matching companion, and you get a pin. So there's 160, 165, about 167 cards total. It's a good deal. Let's see. Kyle's bracket is complete. Terry says, I have one showing incomplete. I had problems getting back in with the app to complete it, so I had to do a new one. Very cool. Where are we at? Jenny says, Terry, I had a hard time figuring out which one was last year's and this year's. Going to have next year Bo label the year on it. That's a good point because I can't delete it. Well, if anybody knows how to delete old brackets from the CBS Sports line, I spent more time than I should have trying to delete last year's. Because last year's was titled 1 Million Cubs' Hobby Evolution. It looks like there's a couple complete. Abraham, Jeremy, and John. So those are like ineligible brackets. So I think Abraham, though, did Abraham fill out one in the correct? So that's, or is his incomplete on here? So Abraham, I might have to have you go. Yeah, Abraham, your bracket in the one that we're using is incomplete. Let's see. Where's the other ones? Jeremy May, and I think John Crimarco. I think you did fill out one in the correct. Yeah. So I will. I wonder if I can edit. Can I edit the name? It really doesn't allow you to do anything. Let's see. Pool name. Oh, 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 oh. And it won't let me edit the pool name. Come on, come on, come on. So delete that. So I can't edit the pool name. I can't delete old brackets. Jesus H. Let's go back into this one. Nope. Yeah, so that's annoying. So yeah, next year I'll just have to make sure it's 2024 for next year's bracket. Let's see. U.S. Sports Cards. What's up, Dan? Creighton versus SIU rivalry in the early 2000s was money. Jenny's going with Duke to win it all. I've got Duke in my Final Four. Let's see. Where we at? How far back in the chat am I? Let's see. Here we are. John says Gonzaga and Kansas gave the most experienced coaches at this point. Thoughts on North Carolina turning down the NIT? Very elitist. I would not blame them. I do not blame them one bit. Not elitist at all. You play if you're a big time program, the NIT is you. And here's my thought. Obviously, I'm not within the North Carolina program or the school. But if you don't make the NCAA tournament, you don't deserve to play in the postseason. And I'm sure that's what the coaching staff and the administration says. Hey, you didn't make the NCAA. We're not rewarding you with a postseason trip. I think more schools should do that with bowl games. And I know some of the blue blood programs, they turn down bowl game invitations. Like, we're not playing in the Motor City Bowl. We're not sending you to a warm weather state to play in a bowl game when you went 6-6. You didn't deserve it. Your expectation is to compete for a top 6 bowl. And if you don't play in the postseason. So I am for teams turning down those postseason invitations. You see it now. A lot of teams don't turn down the NIT, but many will turn down like the CBI, the College Basketball Invitational. But the NIT, it's not, the NIT was big in the 1950s. It's not 1950 anymore. So I don't blame North Carolina or any other big schools, big programs turning down a secondary tournament, because they were a preseason number 1. They should have played in the NCAA. They should have played well enough to earn a berth in the NCAA tournament. John says, dude was trashing Penn State last week. Well, because they always suck at basketball. Penn State sucks at basketball. This year, they're pretty good. Let's see. Can only find Bama Zaga in hobby boxes. Let's see. Mike says, okay, I will be shipping you other box. Just one more card, Bo. Read it carefully. Dan says Gonzaga won it once, like a gazillion years ago, and continue to disappoint every year since. What has been their track record? It's kind of like we always just think, oh, Duke's going to be a great team. They actually are a good team this year, Gonzaga basketball. I think here's kind of the perception of Gonzaga. They were a mid-major, and technically they still are a mid-major program, but they exceeded expectations for a mid-major for so many years that then all of a sudden we expect them to do well. Let's see. So they've been to the Sweet 16 the past 2 seasons. Actually, the past because there was no tournament in 2020. So Gonzaga, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Gonzaga has made the Sweet 16 7 consecutive seasons. Now, they may have been a number one. I don't know what their seeds were in each of those tournaments. So, yes, they could have underwhelmed, but they did make the Elite Eight. They've made the Elite Eight. Let's see, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Wait, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22. So 7 seasons. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 of the last 7 tournaments, Gonzaga has made the Elite Eight. And 17, 18, 19, 21. 2 out of 5 of the last seasons, they've made the Final Four. And 2 of the last 5 tournaments, Gonzaga has played in the championship game. You can't tell me that's disappointing. That's amazing. That's actually really, really, really good. 2 of the last, what did I say? 7 or 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 5. 2 of the last 5 seasons, Gonzaga has played in the championship game. And then we go to 7 years. 1, 2, 3, 4 of the last 7 years, they've made the Elite Eight. And they've made 7 consecutive Sweet 16 appearances. That's pretty damn good. That's actually really good. Let's see. Dan says, I bought some binders today from Menko Storage. Terry has Gonzaga and Alabama with Gonzaga winning. Terry is following my trail. Bad move, Terry. That's what I have. So that means it's probably not going to happen. Let's see. Jenny says, wasn't the Cubs World Series 18 innings or 16? No, it wasn't that long. That postseason, though, the Cubs played a lot of extra inning games. 2016, which sucks. I mean, yeah, we got extra baseball, but let's see. Game. Is this going to even tell me how many innings each game went? I'm just going to have to go to Wikipedia. Baseball reference. They'll get me. Okay, series scores. Indians, Cubs. Game 1, Game 2, Game 3. Actually, the World Series, only one game went extra innings. It went 10 innings. I guess I should have known that. So Game 7 of the World Series went 10 innings. But I think the let's see, was it the NLCS? I think the NLDS had a bunch of games go extras. Yeah. 0 of the NLCS games in 2016 went extra innings. So it must have been the NLDS. Let's see. Is this the one? Cubs over Giants. Oh, only one game. They went 13 innings. I think they were just, they must have been late. Because they were playing the Giants. So they were late starts. And then that game 3 went 13 innings and it ended at like 1 a.m. Central Time. So that's what so in 2016, only 2 games went extra innings. 1 13-inning game and 1 10-inning game. They usually cut off beer sales in the 8th inning. Not many people make it 10 more innings without a tasty beverage. No doubt. And that's probably why I've never stayed for a long extra inning game. They cut off beer sales. Come on. Dan says games end in a tie after 12 here. Interesting. No empathy. I don't like games ending in a tie. Have like a home run derby. Yeah. After a guy plays 12 innings, they have to go out and play a freaking home run derby. Maybe a bunting. Bunting is big over. Maybe a bunting challenge, or a race to first base. That probably has injury. That has injury written all over it. But there's got to be some type of tiebreaker. You can't have games ending in ties. There's got to be a tiebreaker. John says, no empathy for professional athletes. Stop being so naive. Come on, man. I completely 100% disagree with that take. That is a shit take, John. There are plenty of intelligent and creative people who don't get to chase their dreams due to various reasons. It's not just professional. It's, every job. There's somebody that doesn't get to chase their dreams. And it doesn't have to be pro sports. It could be artists. It could be teachers. It could be a multitude of things. A dude who can throw a fastball deserves no pity. Oh, that's a shit take, John. That is a terrible shit take. I'm willing to be dehumanized from many of their salaries or signing bonuses. Terrible. No, don't like that. Same pro athletes are walking past you without signing autos. Entitled. That's their prerogative. If they don't want to sign for a 40-year-old fat dude, I don't give a shit. If this entitled 20-year-old wants to turn down a 40-year-old fat guy for an autograph, more power to him. He earned it. I'm just going into the games. Yeah, I'm paying money on tickets and beer, but it doesn't entitle me to an autograph. Let's see. George says, I'm dehumanized pretty much daily as a teacher for peanuts of a salary. I mean, I think every position is dehumanized. Let's see. John says, this rant reminds me of the Kardashians complaining about their privacy, but I'm not a dude who doesn't want to fail and makes a mistake or fails, do you think he's entitled to getting trolled and threatened and death threats and his family getting trolled because of what he's doing? The Kardashians don't deserve that either. Do they deserve privacy? I mean, hey, you're there. You're in the public spotlight. I'm not saying anything about privacy. The Kardashians don't deserve death threats and being trolled either. Yeah, it's a part of the job. But think before you're an asshole. And I mean, John, I would expect you of anybody in the line of work you do to have some type of empathy for musicians and people you have worked with in your professional life. TD Sports Cards, what's happening? Any professional athlete wants to succeed in their sport more than we as a fan want them to succeed? Absolutely. Nobody wants to fail. Nobody wants to make mistakes. They happen. And just because they make more money doesn't mean they can get death threats and all that. Let's see. Flipping Sports Guy says his bracket is finished. Abraham will not make the card show on Saturday, but will complete my bracket. Spring training was awesome. Had a lot of fun. Let's see. Brian says, I sent my email in the Twitter message that I was sending to you while you were there. Okay, I'll check that. Basketball's drop in the pandemic also coincided with increase of social justice influence. Social issues have affected basketball more than any other sport. That's something I never thought of. That's a good point. That is a really good point. And I also wonder, because with basketball was a lot of sneakerheads. And I feel like the crowd that may have been into basketball in the years leading up to the pandemic, 2018, 2019, into 2020, I feel that they may have been, a lot of those may have drifted onto NFTs. Their gateway drug was Top Shot. They drift into Top Shot. They drift into NFTs. And I wonder if that has something to do with it as well. The running back position in the game is now devalued, leading to hobby devaluation. That's 100% true. Let's see. And wide receiver. And that's where we're seeing wide receivers like starting to get some action. Justin Jefferson is pretty hot in the hobby. Eric, what's up? Morning all. I'll see you Saturday. Have a good amount of new hockey cards. There you go. Madison Card Show. Check out Eric. Let's see. Brian says, send the photo as an attachment via the email. Okay. Via the email. Flipping Sports Guy says, baseball is the bread and butter. Football is where you get your big paydays. Let's see. Flipping Sports Guy. Oh, at least this is an easy marker. I can follow up my links. I'll give Fanatics some credit. They've got the cards back in convenience stores. Have been many years since seeing that. Mark Marinello, what's up? Haven't watched a pitch of the World Baseball Classic. Still on a hockey high with my Devils. Did see Diaz blew out his knee celebrating Mets luck. Right on course. I watched a little bit of World Baseball Classic in the lobby at the hotel on one of the nights I was at spring training. I thought about watching some of last night's game. It was like, ooh, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic. I'll watch that. And just didn't. The World Baseball Classic just doesn't do it for me. And I think the reason why is because I'm in the U.S. I think it means more to citizens of Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Taiwan, Japan. Whereas in the U.S., I don't think it's as big of a deal. And I mean, it just doesn't do much for me. And I thought, I scheduled my spring training trip around the World Baseball Classic because I wanted to go watch a game in person. And when I was out there, it's just like, I don't want to deal with it. Usually I was in bed by 8 p.m. The game started at 7. It's like, I've got to stay up late. And it wasn't enough for me. Now, if the Cubs played at 7 p.m., I would have been there. But it just didn't do it for me. Let's see. But now the Olympics, I'll watch swimming. Swimming is probably my favorite Olympic sport to watch. I'll watch gymnastics in the Olympics. But when it comes to the World Baseball Classic, even when baseball was an Olympic sport, now is it baseball? Probably not. I can't remember, but it never, just didn't do much for me. Let's see. Eric says, who do you think in the West? East is wide open. Bruins doing good, but don't think they can go the distance. Let's see. Jenny says you're a bit behind in the chat. By the time you get here, you're at 7:55, so that will tell you how far behind. Well, it's 8:09. So thanks, Jenny, for the timestamp. So I'm 14 minutes behind in the chat. Flipping Sports Guy says a lot of schools need the money from those postseason invitations. Here's the thing. Many of those postseason invitations do not come with money. They're actually a cost for universities. NCAA is probably the only. I don't think the NIT. I'd have to look it up, but the NCAA you get money, but the CBI, the College Basketball Invitational, schools have to pay to play in those tournaments. The NIT, I'm not sure what the NIT is, but North Carolina doesn't need the money from NIT revenue. I can tell you that. Now the NCAA, the exposure alone is worth more than what teams make. Basically it's a 2-hour commercial for your university. That does more, and especially if your team pulls off an upset, that does way more for the university than any of the financial revenue from the NCAA. But the NCAA picks up your travel, picks up hotel, and then you get a cut of the proceeds. I don't know how NIT works. I don't have any background with the NIT. And I do know College Basketball Invitational, it set us back as a university like $25,000, which for a small, low major, that's a lot of money. But we had never been to a postseason tournament. And we had, and for us, getting to that point was a reward because we were a 5 seed. We were a 4 or 5 seed in the conference tournament. Then we knocked off the number 1 seed. And then we had the lead in the championship game on ESPN2 in the Summit League championship game against South Dakota State. We had like a 12-point lead in a low-scoring game early in the second half. South Dakota State kept chipping back. It went into overtime, and we lost by like 1 or 2 points. So going to the CBI in the athletic department, spending $25,000 of basically football money was a reward for the basketball program. Recent history says Villanova is a bigger program than Carolina. They are playing in the NIT. Let's see. Eric says, I think Devils are a sleeper. They're college kids. Pete Maravich, NCAA record is safe. Zags is a very small school in a remote location and conference. Remarkable track record recently. By disappoint, I mean not winning at all. It's so hard. I mean, you can't rank disappointment by winning at all, even if you're a favorite. I mean, that's just let's see. Dan says you should pick whomever is playing Gonzaga in the championship to win it. Let's see. So I've got Gonzaga winning it. But again, I'm always wrong. So we'll see. But maybe since I'm going against everybody else's thoughts, maybe that's going to be good. Herman says, I hope my bracket is complete. It says it on my end. Yes. I think I named out everybody's whose is incomplete. Let me see. Oh, we're up to 88 brackets. 88 brackets. So, Herman, I think you are complete. Yes. Herman is complete. Let's see. So, incomplete brackets I have. Oh, hey, Low Roller Scratcher has completed his bracket. Nick has completed his bracket. Scotty Dubs. Let's see. So I have Abraham. I still have an incomplete bracket on your end. Dale, Dave, Frank, Jacob, and Tyler. So those are incomplete brackets. But some of those people may still be in the process of filling them out. I think the deadline is right up until games start. When is does it say when the deadline is? Just 11 a.m. Central is like when the TV coverage begins. I think the first tip is like 11:20. So just make sure you get them complete by 11 a.m. Central, so you still have a couple hours. Let's see. Jenny says, well, game 7 felt like 18 innings. There was a rain delay. Yes, there was a rain delay. It was about a 30-minute, I think, rain delay. Let's see. Got to do a show on collectibles insurance. FedEx only insures cards up to $1,000. I've paid thousands of dollars for insurance and wasn't covered last few years. Was about to pay $800 to ship to PSA. That would be a great episode. I have I don't use collectibles insurance. I should, especially now that my Cubs collection is worth more than what it used to be. I think at the new house, once I get settled in, I mean, I should do it now. I should look into that very soon, actually. But I have I can't do a show on it because I don't know anything about it. I do know, I invited my insurance agent over, and when he came down to the basement and looked at all of my cards, he says, I'm not insuring this. He says, there's no way I'm going to insure this. Even as like a writer, he's like, no, you're better off. And he mentioned, he's like, there's companies out there that specialize in this, and talk to them. Let's see. Where are we at? We only have to hear about 2016 World Series for another 93 years. You're right. In 830 episodes, how often do I talk about the 2016 World Series? I probably talked more about the 85 Bears than I have about the 16 Cubs. Dodgers Red Sox World Series had an 18-inning game in 2018. We'll talk when your buzz from sniffing jocks wears off. No one deserves death threats. You're buying book online and sinker into how hard it is to play a game. Let's see. Where are we at? Eric says that's why they make $75 million, retire, and get a real job because they're broke. John says plenty of people is abusive relationships get death threats. Unlike our beloved athletes, they're often carried out. If a troll hurts your feelings, then you're in the wrong business. It's a shame about Diaz because athletes are accused of not being passionate. This is an instant where they are, and it ends terribly. Denny, what's up? Chicago tomorrow, Madison on Saturday. Big weekend for buy, sell, and trade. See you on Saturday. The Dairyland picker, Denny himself, will be set up at the Madison Card Show this Saturday. Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. Show runs 9 to 3, 125 tables. I'll have my bargain boxes set up. I'll have supplies, some penny sleeves, and top loaders for sale. So come see me. Terry says baseball has been in and out of the Olympics a few times. Dan says only 7 likes. They don't like my takes. I guess I have hot takes today. We're up to 17, though. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all that crap. Flipping Sports Guy says LRS took the Penguins to win it all. Let's see. I don't think I can see I can't see, or can I? Can I see the brackets? I cannot. So we won't be able to see each other's brackets until it opens up once the games start. Let's see. Dan says, I remember when EIU was a 15 or 16 seed and stayed close with 1 or 2 seed to the half, then couldn't keep up in the second half. And that's what happens. That's really common where, especially in like the 14, 15, 16 seeds. I remember, I think it was Western Carolina played Purdue in the 1-16 matchup. And this was 25 years ago. This was in the mid 90s. And I think Western Carolina, like it was a back and forth game. And it was, I think Western Carolina had a chance to win the game at the end and lost. But I think it was only like a 2-point game. I think it was like 93, 94, 95, somewhere in there. Western Carolina, Purdue. And there's a lot of course, we've had 1-16 seed that won, beat Virginia. I can't even remember who the 16 seed was that won, but I remember Virginia was the team that lost. Let's see. Brian says he's going to crush you all. Let's go Zags. So, Brian has the Zags to win it all also. Rich says, FYI, since you also set up at shows, when you get the collectibles insurance, they will set you up as a dealer since you do some shows. Let's see. Brian says $1,000 a year for how many zeros is that? $300K in coverage, includes shipping, card shows, etc. Okay, I'm definitely going to look into that. Let's see. That's a pretty cheap price to pay for that type of coverage. Harlan says West Virginia, Maryland is the opening game of the tourney. Tip at 12:15, so that's 11:15 Central. Let's go Mountaineers. Harlan, I have West Virginia. I forgot Harlan, West Virginia guy. I said Ken earlier. So Harlan and Ken, I'm rooting for the Mountaineers. They're playing a Big Ten team. Big Ten typically sucks in the tournament. Maryland's the 8, West Virginia's the 9. NYC Life. I busted a box of 2022 Prism football. Even though I hit a Wilson base rookie auto, I probably still lost $100 on the box, which is just crazy. Prices are way too high on products. Football is crazy. When I was ripping packs with Ethan last week at spring training, he bought a hobby box of Prism football and a hobby box of Bowman's Best Baseball. Like right before he came over to the hotel, he's like, I'm going to run to the card shop and get some boxes. And I opened a lowly box of Elite Extra Edition. All of our boxes sucked. I pulled a Jackson Holiday non-auto to $4.99, which might have been my best card. I can't even remember what was pulled in the Bowman's Best. And Prism football was a bust. Woods and Water, what's up? Happy best day of the year. It's Thursday, NCAA first round. John uses collectibles insurance. Great program. USPS doesn't insure cards being sent to grading. No, in fact, nothing is insured through USPS unless you actually insure it. But you mentioned sent to grading. Yeah, I don't think that's. I think there's like a disclaimer. So be careful if you're sending to grading. Let's see if there's that link, because I've seen this link and it's like, whoa, I didn't realize that. USPS, which is kind of stupid. Is there a reason? Does anybody know why that would be a thing? Let's see. Let's look up insurance. Insurance for many carriers, whether it's USPS, FedEx, UPS, trucking, full truckload, LTL, kind of sucks. Be careful, especially if it's high end. And I guess that's relative to what you consider high end. Okay, I'm not going to find it, but yeah, just when you're looking into insuring things, and especially if you're sending high value stuff, read the fine print, because battling for insurance is hard enough as it is. And I've had, working in transportation, some of the insurance claims I've had to deal with have been absolute nightmares. Let's see. Getting quotes today from CIS and Finkelmere. FedEx doesn't either let you pay for it, but won't cover. That's pretty typical for carriers like FedEx. Dairyland Picker, his final four: Bama, Marquette, Texas, and UConn. John is taking Bitcoin over hockey cards in the final. Eric says a Gretzky auto worth more than Bitcoin. Flipping Sports Guy has Bama, Marquette, Houston, and UConn. Brian's versus John's. There are 4 of each of us in your brackets. Need fire protection with the USPS. They won't insure art cards, jewelry, etc. Too many ways to make a claim. Flipping says, I had my wife pick Houston. Winner of Texas versus Houston is champion in my humble opinion. So that's what I had for today. We're only 3 hours away from tip. Get those brackets in. There's a link in the description to this video. There's also a link in the chat. There's a grand prize of a hobby box of Topps Series 1 on the line. The winner of the Hobby Evolution Bracket Challenge wins a Series 1 hobby box. Has anyone ever filed a claim with Collect Insure where they get paid out? They say that you don't have to prove what you have, just write it down. They tell you that up front, but have they ever paid? I don't know. If anybody has an answer to Randy. There is a disclaimer because there's no value on a raw card. It's too arbitrary. That's a good point. Link is in the description to the Hobby Evolution Bracket Challenge. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to my rant. Go basketball. Watch plenty of it today. Have a great day, and we'll talk tomorrow.